Ayo, listen up, because the streets are buzzing and hip-hop Twitter is about to catch fire. What went down last night wasn't just another rap shona. This was an all-out ambush on Drake, and fans are still picking their jaws up off the floor. Imagine this: Kendrick Lamar, the Compton kingpin himself, sharing a stage with none other than Clipse, the legendary duo Pusha T and Malice. The crowd was already electric, but nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for what happened next. Out of nowhere, Kendrick takes that mic, stares dead into the camera, and drops a line so sharp it had folks screaming, clutching their phones, recording every second. Then Clipse. Man, they doubled down straight, calling out Drake by name, dragging receipts, throwing shade about Ovu, and making accusations that had fans gasping like they just witnessed a reality TV betrayal. You could literally feel the tension slice through the arena like a knife. Some people cheered, some booed, but everybody knew they were watching history in the making. And now, social media is exploding with clips. Fans are divided, insiders are spilling tea, and even Drake's closest circle is supposedly scrambling. So what really went down, and why did Kendrick and Clipse decide to end Drake live on stage? Stay locked in. This is about to get messy. Last night felt less like a rap concert and more like a heavyweight championship fight, except the punches weren't fists, they were bars. Kendrick had just finished running through a couple of his fan favorites when he paused, breathing heavy, scanning the audience like he had something weighing on his chest. The crowd went quiet for a second, everyone waiting for his next word. And then he leaned forward, his voice low but sharp, and said, "You can't fake forever. Some of y'all's favorite ain't who you think he is." That was the moment. The temperature in the building shifted. Fans gasped. Some screamed, some pulled out their phones even faster. Nobody was sure if he was just spitting in general or if this was a direct line. But then he nodded to the side of the stage, and who walked out? None other than Pusha T and Malice, the Clipse. The whole arena erupted like a bomb had gone off. People knew right then this wasn't going to be just a performance. This was war. Pusha T grabbed the mic first, cool as ice, like he'd been rehearsing for this day for years. He smirked and said, "Somebody's still crying about the Summer Games, huh?" Everybody instantly caught the reference. It was a dagger aimed right at Drake. A callback to the infamous beef where Pusha had exposed Drake's hidden son to the world. Fans were screaming, some laughing, some just stunned that this was happening live, raw, unfiltered. Malice backed him up, saying, "Truth don't expire, lies do." That's when it clicked for people. This was coordinated. This was planned. This wasn't random shade. Kendrick came back to the center. The lights dimmed, and he started freestyling right there. Ain't no king if the crown's bought with pop charts. Ain't no legend if the family tree cracked from the start. Every line felt like a bullet, and the fans knew exactly who he was talking about. People in the front rows were holding their heads, mouths wide open. It felt like the kind of moment you tell your kids about later. I was there when Kendrick and Clipse went for Drake's throat. But here's where it got even messier. Sources backstage say Kendrick had been building up to this moment for weeks. Apparently, he and Pusha had been exchanging messages, plotting out exactly when and how they were going to call out Drake. Insiders are saying Kendrick felt like Drake had been getting away with too much for too long, skating by with popularity and avoiding real accountability in hip-hop. Clipse, especially Pusha, didn't need much convincing. They'd been waiting to reload and fire off at Drake ever since their last battle. But this wasn't just about bars. According to people close to Kendrick, there's a personal angle. Rumors are swirling that Drake allegedly tried to block Kendrick from getting certain festival slots using his influence behind the scenes. Whether it's true or not, Kendrick's camp is convinced it happened. That's why Kendrick's tone last night wasn't just competitive. It was personal, almost bitter. You could hear it in his delivery, the way his jaw clenched, the way he stared dead into the camera lenses, knowing this would be everywhere within minutes. And let's not forget the fans. Half the crowd was hyped, screaming facts and talked to him, while the other half looked uncomfortable, not sure if they were witnessing a show or the beginning of a full-blown collapse of rap's biggest superstar. Some fans even started chanting Drake's name in defense, but they were drowned out by cheers for Kendrick and Clipse. It was like the arena itself was split in half, mirroring the division in the hip-hop community. Then came the most shocking part one of this saga. Pusha pulled out his phone mid-performance, holding it up to the crowd. On the big screen behind them, screenshot appeared, alleged text exchange between Drake and a well-known industry executive. The text seemed to show Drake trying to downplay Kendrick's influence and even suggesting that real hip-hop heads don't buy tickets like the casuals do. The audience lost it. Whether the screenshot was real or not, the impact was instant. Fans booed, some screamed fake, while others shouted exposed. The chaos was unbelievable. Malice leaned into the mic with a calm, almost preacher-like tone. The truth will always reveal itself. You can't buy silence forever. And at that exact moment, Kendrick dropped the hammer with one more freestyle. I came from the bottom, never begged for a spot. You cried to the bosses when the numbers got hot. Rap ain't a charity. It's a throne with a lock, and you can't pick the code with a gimmick and pop. The crowd erupted like it was the end of a boxing match, some people even throwing their hats in the air. Social media was already on fire by this point. Within minutes, clips of Kendrick's lines and Push's screenshots were trending worldwide. Hashtags like hashtag Kendrick vs Drake, hashtag CLIPSE back, and hashtag Drake exposed were flooding timelines. Fans outside the arena who hadn't even seen it live were already taking sides. Celebrities started chiming in, to rappers, producers, influencers. Everybody had an opinion. Some were praising Kendrick and Clipse for keeping the culture authentic, while others accused them of being bitter and jealous of Drake's success. But the craziest part? People close to Drake's camp say he was watching the performance in real time, and he wasn't quiet about it. Insiders claim he immediately started calling his inner circle furious, demanding to know how this was allowed to happen. Supposedly, he even threatened to cancel his appearance at an upcoming award show unless the producers made a public statement, distancing themselves from Kendrick and Clipse. Whether that's true or just rumors, it fits the mood Drake feeling. Cornered, embarrassed, and ready to strike back. And that's where part one leaves us. Kendrick, Clipse, and a roaring crowd putting Drake on blast in front of the world. With alleged receipts flashing on the big screen and social media exploding. Drake's silence in the moment only made it worse, leaving fans to wonder, would he clap back? Or was this the beginning of a downfall no one saw coming? The energy was raw, the tension was thick, and everyone knew this wasn't over. The stage had been set, the shots had been fired, and the war lines were officially drawn. The moment the lights cut off after Kendrick and Clipse left the stage, it felt like hip-hop had just witnessed a car crash in slow motion. The audience was buzzing, phones were blowing up, and fans couldn't stop replaying what just went down. But while the world was still processing, Drake was already moving. Insiders claim he stormed into his Toronto mansion that night, pacing back and forth, furious at what he'd just seen. According to someone close to his circle, Drake's first words were, "They want to play dirty. I'll show them how ugly this game can get." That sentence alone set the tone for what came next. Behind the scenes, Drake's team was scrambling. OVO producers and advisors hopped on emergency calls, trying to decide whether to respond immediately or play the long game. Some urged him to drop a diss track before sunrise, while others told him to stay quiet, let the noise fade, and handle things with business moves. But Drake wasn't trying to stay quiet this time. Allegedly, he slammed his phone on the table and shouted, "They think they killed me, but I'm still breathing. I'm not meek. I'm not soft. I'm the one who writes the rules." Meanwhile, the streets were in chaos. Outside the venue, fans argued in the parking lot, some chanting Kendrick's name, others defending Drake. One fan went viral after screaming into the camera, "Drake gone, end them in 24 hours. Watch." Another clip showed a group of Kendrick fans laughing, saying, "Nah, he can't talk his way out of this one." The division was real and it was spreading like wildfire online. Kendrick, for his part, was calm. After the show, he reportedly went back to the green room with Clipse, quietly sipping water while Pusha scrolled through his phone, smiling at the chaos. Malice, who usually stays quiet in these situations, was overheard saying, "This isn't just a battle. This is a cleansing." Sources say Kendrick nodded, replying, he needed to feel it in his soul. That's how unbothered they seemed, like they'd already prepared for whatever Drake was gonna throw back. But here's where the first twist in part 2 comes in. An industry insider leaked that Drake had receipts of his own. Allegedly, he had been sitting on information about one of Kendrick's closest family members, something heavy enough to cause real damage. Supposedly, Drake had even told a few people in private, "They don't want me to open that vault." The fact that this rumor leaked only added gasoline to the fire. Fans online started speculating wildly, what could Drake possibly have on Kendrick, who's always kept his personal life airtight? While fans argued, other rappers began choosing sides. Some big names tweeted cryptic messages. One Atlanta rapper wrote, "Funny how everybody tough till the sixth God speaks." Another West Coast legend tweeted, "Authentic always wins, no matter how many streams you buy." The hip-hop world was splitting down the middle. And it felt eerily similar to old rap beefs where careers were made or destroyed overnight, but then came the moment nobody expected. Within 24 hours of the show, a mysterious snippet leaked online. It was only 20 seconds long, but the voice was undeniably Drake's. Over a haunting beat, he rapped, "You raised your voice, but you ain't raised your son. I raised the charts while you hid from the sun." The line sounded like a direct shot at Kendrick's private life, maybe even referencing his notoriously private family. The internet went insane. Was this the diss track Drake promised? Had it already been recorded, or did he rush it out overnight? Nobody knew, but the snippet was enough to send shockwaves. Kendrick's fans pushed back immediately, accusing Drake of crossing boundaries. One fan tweeted, "Drake always goes low when he's scared." This proves Kendrick hit a nerve. Drake's fans, on the other hand, celebrated, saying, "This is just a teaser. Wait till the full track drops." Even Pusha T jumped in on Twitter with a single post, 3 coffin emojis. That silence, followed by the emojis, was enough to make headlines on its own. The tension wasn't just staying in the music. Brands started to get nervous. A sneaker company that had partnerships with both Drake and Kendrick allegedly called an emergency meeting, unsure how to handle the fallout. Sponsors don't like messy drama, but fans do, and the culture was glued to the unfolding chaos. Insiders even said Kendrick's festival bookings had doubled in inquiries overnight, while Drake's team was scrambling to reassure partners that he wasn't about to be canceled. Behind closed doors, Kendrick's camp was debating too. According to someone present, Malice urged caution. "Don't let him drag you into the mud," he warned. But Pusha T wasn't having it. "Nah, we've been waiting on this. Let him talk. We'll answer with truth." Kendrick, as always, stayed calm, allegedly saying patience wins battles, not rage. But his silence was being misinterpreted online. Some fans started to worry that he was backing down, while others believed he was just calculating his next move. Drake, however, wasn't letting up. Another rumor surfaced that he was preparing a full-length diss, not just at Kendrick, but at Clipse too, pulling out old industry secrets, personal stories, and even unreleased collaborations meant to embarrass them. A producer close to Drake's team supposedly said, "He's going nuclear. He's not stopping at bars, he's going for careers." Meanwhile, family members started getting dragged in, whether they wanted to or not. Kendrick's relatives were being harassed online by fans demanding answers, while Drake's own father, Dennis Graham, made a cryptic Instagram post saying, "The truth always wins." It only fueled speculation that Drake had something bigger planned. 24 hours later, the internet woke up to chaos. No teasers, no cryptic posts, no delay. Dropped the full diss track right at midnight, sending shockwaves through the culture. The title alone was petty, Family Matters, and from the very first second, listeners knew this wasn't a playful jab. The beat was cold, minimal, like a ticking clock, and his voice cut through sharp as a blade. You played the humble. Roll but your mask too thin, trying to hide the cracks but your blood to kin. You preach the loyalty but your brother's in sin. I'll expose the foundation you built it all in. The internet exploded. People couldn't believe the kind of accusations he was making. Fans immediately started dissecting every bar, saying he was calling out Kendrick's brother, hinting at family scandals nobody had ever heard before. Some were screaming that he'd gone too far. Others were praising him for finally snapping back within minutes. Family Matters hit #1 on streaming platforms, proving Drake still had the power to control the narrative when he wanted to. The most talked about part of the diss came midway through, when he rapped, "You let another man's hand write your lines while you played quiet. I was buying time. Your silence ain't strategy. It's fear in disguise. I can see it in your eyes every time that you lie." The crowd online went ballistic with Drake accusing Kendrick of having ghostwriters. That's always been the deadliest sin in rap, and Kendrick's image has always been built on lyrical authenticity. To even suggest that shook the core of the fan base. But he didn't stop there. Drake went after Clipse too, dragging up old wounds. One brother found God, the other found coke. Together, they pretend like the kingdom ain't broke. The crowd was stunned. Fans of Clipse were furious, saying Drake crossed a line disrespecting Malice's spiritual journey, while Push's loyal supporters were ready for blood. In Toronto, reports say Drake celebrated with his crew, sipping champagne while watching live reactions on Twitch and Instagram Live. OVO members laughed at fan tweets, hyped up Drake, and allegedly told him, "This is the one, you ended them." Drake himself was reportedly smiling, saying, "Let's see them come back from this." Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp was eerily silent. No tweets, no stories, no statements, just silence. Fans were panicking, wondering if Kendrick was frozen, unsure how to respond. Some fans even started accusing Kendrick of being scared, a word never associated with him before. But backstage sources paint a different picture. Kendrick wasn't shaken, he was calculating. Allegedly, he told his team, "Let him talk. Let him bleed on wax. The more he says, the deeper he digs." Pusha T, though, wasn't so calm. He was pacing, furious, saying, "Nah, this man wants war, he gonna get it. We can't let this sit." Malice, in his usual calm tone, told them both, "Remember, truth don't gotta rush. It always arrives right on time." While Kendrick planned his silence, fans filled the gap with noise. Reaction videos flooded YouTube, Instagram Lives had thousands of viewers debating bar by bar, and hip-hop blogs called this the biggest rap war since Jay and Nas. Even celebrities got involved. One R&B singer tweeted, "Drake went too far," while another pop star wrote, "This is entertainment at its finest." The culture was hooked and there was no turning back. But then came the twist nobody saw. Coming a day after the diss dropped, a leaked video surfaced online. It showed Drake in a private studio session from months ago. Allegedly complaining about Kendrick's rise and admitting, "I hate the way he makes me feel small." The clip was grainy, the audio slightly distorted, but fans ran with it. Some claimed it was fake, others swore it was real, but the damage was done. Suddenly, Drake's diss looked less like dominance and more like insecurity. Pusha T wasted no time. He reposted the clip with the caption, "Truth hurts more than bars." That alone racked up millions of views. Malice went live on Instagram, reading scripture while fans flooded the chat with laughing emojis and Drake cooked comments. Kendrick finally broke his silence in the most Kendrick way possible. He didn't tweet, he didn't post a photo, he showed up at a surprise pop-up show in Los Angeles. Fans who attended said the energy was unlike anything they'd ever felt. Mid-performance, he stopped the music, looked into the crowd and said, "He tried to bring up my family, but my family don't run from truth. When you scared, you talk a lot. When you're ready, you let the music speak." The crowd lost their minds. People were chanting, "Respond, respond," but Kendrick just smirked and walked off stage after performing DNA. Social media immediately exploded again. Some fans declared Kendrick the winner just off presence and confidence. Others argued that until he dropped a track, Drake still had the upper hand. Debates raged on, but one thing was clear: the war was far from over. In the middle of all this, industry insiders revealed another layer. Drake's sponsors were starting to feel uneasy. One insider claimed a major brand called his team worried about being associated with Family Matters and its personal attacks. The money pressure was real, and while Drake's streams were booming, his reputation was under fire. Kendrick, on the other hand, suddenly saw a spike in demand. Promoters were calling nonstop. Fans were flooding his merch stores, and ticket resales for his next show skyrocketed. Even though he hadn't dropped a diss yet, he was winning the battle of perception as the dust from Drake's diss began to settle. Everyone knew it was only a matter of time before Kendrick and Clipse struck back. Pusha T was hinting on social media, posting cryptic photos of old studio sessions. Fans speculated he and Kendrick were already cooking up something lethal, something that would turn the tide completely. And that's where the tension sat, Drake riding high on his diss track success, but battling leaks and public perception, while Kendrick and Clipse quietly sharpened their swords in the background. The question wasn't if they would respond, but when, and fans everywhere were refreshing their feeds nonstop, waiting for the next shot to be fired. 3 nights after Drake shook the internet with Family Matters, the response finally came. It wasn't announced, it wasn't teased at exactly 11:59 p.m. A track titled "Silence Louder" dropped on all platforms, credited to Kendrick Lamar featuring Clipse. The second it hit, the culture stopped. No tweets, no scrolling, no distractions, everybody pressed play at the same time. The track opened with Malice's voice, deep and haunting. "Truth, don't rush, it arrives. Lies sprint, but they die tired." Then the beat dropped dark, heavy, like a storm rolling through. Kendrick came in first, and from the opening bar, it was clear this wasn't just music, it was a surgical strike. "You call it Family Matters, but you don't know the word. You abandoned your son, let the world learn first. You buying love with streams, we buying souls with verse. This kingdom ain't yours, it was mine from birth." Fans went insane. Kendrick had flipped Drake's own weakness. The child Pusha T exposed years ago right back in his face. The internet lit up with reactions, people screaming he brought the sun back, others crying that Kendrick had ended Drake in just 4 lines. Pusha came in next, cold as ever, delivering bar after bar with venom. "Numbers don't erase the fact that you beg. You cried to the label while I cut off the leg. OVO ain't a family, it's a check with a chain. You built a house of plastic, now it's melting in flames." The crowd online was stunned. Pusha wasn't just revisiting the old beef. He was doubling down, reminding Drake that money and popularity don't make you bulletproof. But the most devastating blow came when Kendrick returned for his second verse. This time, his tone shifted, calm, surgical, almost too precise. "You hate the way I make you feel small. Your own words on tape, confession in your fall. Insecurity, the ghost that lives in your hall. The bigger the 6, the harder the wall. Fans immediately connected the dots. He was referencing the leaked studio clip where Drake admitted feeling small around Kendrick. To use Drake's own words against him, it was brutal. And just when listeners thought it was done, malice closed. The track with a chilling outro. The truth is undefeated. Kings don't beg for crowns. The war is finished before it starts. Then silence. No hook, no chorus, no ad-libs, just silence. Within minutes, Silence Louder was trending. #1 worldwide. Fans declared it the nail in the coffin. With one tweet going viral, Drake dropped Family Matters. Kendrick dropped the obituary. Memes flooded the timeline. Clips of fans reacting went viral. And hashtags like #SilenceLouder and #DrakeFinished dominated. Inside Drake's camp, chaos erupted. Insiders say Drake was furious, smashing a glass against the wall and yelling at his team. One person close to the situation claimed he shouted, "Why would they leak that clip? Who sold me out?" Apparently, the leaked studio video had cut him deep because Kendrick using it had stripped away his composure. His team allegedly urged him to stay calm and focus on touring. But Drake wasn't hearing it. Back in LA, Kendrick was reportedly serene. Sources from the studio said he barely celebrated, simply telling Clipse, "Let the people decide." Pusha T, though, was grinning ear to ear, telling friends on Live, "That's checkmate." Malice remained quiet, but fans pointed out that his single closing line felt like a prophecy. Hip-hop legends began chiming in almost immediately. One veteran rapper posted, "This ain't a beef. This is history." Another said, "Kendrick." And Clipse just did what nobody else could. Fans were debating if this was the end of Drake's dominance in the culture, or just another chapter in his long career. But the damage was undeniable. Major blogs ran headlines like, "Kendrick buries Drake and Clipse put final nail in OVO coffin." Sponsors who had hesitated after Drake's diss now leaned hard away from him, with one insider saying, "Brands don't like liability, and Drake looks unstable right now." Kendrick, on the other hand, saw his numbers skyrocket. Silence Louder was streamed 20 million times in the first 12 hours, breaking records without any rollout. The fans themselves were split. Drake's loyal supporters argued that he still ran charts in arenas, saying, "You can't cancel numbers." Kendrick's fans countered with, "This ain't about numbers, this about respect." Even neutral fans admitted Kendrick's diss was more layered, more personal, and more destructive. But here's the wildest twist. Reports surfaced that J. Cole, who had stayed silent the entire time, was allegedly in the studio with Kendrick just days before the drop. Fans started speculating that Cole had given input, maybe even written a few bars, though nothing was confirmed. That rumor alone sent shockwaves. Was it just Kendrick and Clipse, or was a bigger alliance forming? In the aftermath, the hip-hop community was left stunned. Drake still had his fan base, but his aura of untouchability had been cracked. Kendrick, once again, stood tall as the quiet assassin, proving that silence, patience, and timing could dismantle even the biggest superstar. Clipse cemented their place as rap's Grim Reapers, swooping in at the perfect moment to bury a rival. The war might not have ended Drake's career, but it left scars that would never fully heal. Fans, media, and even fellow rappers admitted hip-hop hadn't felt this alive in years. And there you have it, fam. A night that started as just another show turned into one of the biggest moments in hip-hop history. Kendrick and Clipse came together like assassins in the dark, calling Drake out live on stage and shaking the whole culture. Drake fired back with Family Matters, a diss track that had fans screaming and debating for days. But then Kendrick and Clipse delivered the knockout with Silence Louder, a track so cold and calculated it felt like a funeral service. On wax, the industry is still trying to recover. Fans are divided down the middle, some saying Drake will never recover from this, others swearing he's still the biggest star alive. Legends are chiming in, brands are panicking, and social media hasn't stopped talking about it. But one thing's for sure, hip-hop hasn't felt this raw, this dangerous, this alive in years. Whether you think Kendrick and Clipse destroyed Drake for good, or you believe Drake still has another card to play, nobody can deny we just witnessed history, so now the question is for you, the viewers. What do you think? Did Kendrick and Clipse officially bury Drake with Silence Louder? Or does Drake still have a chance to climb back and reclaim the throne? Do you think this war is over? Or is there another round coming that we don't even see yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear from you. Make sure you hit that like button if you're rocking with the story. Subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in this saga. You turn on notifications because, trust me, this drama ain't slowing down anytime soon. This is hip-hop, this is war, and the streets are watching.